This is number 7 from the College Algebra Lesson 18 activities. So I have C equals g of x, which is 5/9 times x minus 32. That is a formula that converts a temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, x. So you input a degrees Fahrenheit, and it outputs temperature in Celsius. So I want to find and interpret g of 77. So g of 77 means I replaced this x with a 77, so I have to replace all the x's in the formula with a 77. So 5/9 times 77 minus 32 equals 25. So let's see, we get 5/9 times 77 minus 32 is 45. And then 45 over 9 is 5. So this is 5 times 5, which is 25. Okay, so to interpret, I would say 77 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 25 degrees Celsius. The inverse function is g inverse of x is 1.8x plus 32. Describe what this function does. So inverse functions swap the role of input and output. So this x used to be a degrees Fahrenheit, now it's a degrees Celsius. This changes degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. So g inverse of 25 should give me 77, right? I converted 77 degrees Fahrenheit to 25 degrees Celsius. This should convert me back. So g inverse of 25, that would be 1.8 times 25 plus 32. So 1.8 times 25 is 45, plus 32 is 77, and that is degrees Fahrenheit. So to interpret, I would say 25 degrees Celsius is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And then lastly, we want to verify that g inverse of x is the inverse of the function g of x. So show that g of g inverse equals x and vice versa. G inverse of g of x equals x. Okay, so g of g inverse of x. So I'm going to replace g inverse with its formula. So I have g of g inverse is 1.8x plus 32. And then I use the function notation to plug this formula into my g formula. So I'm going to have 5/9 times, instead of x, I have 1.8x plus 32. And then the minus 32. So I replaced this x with 1.8x plus 32. And then when you simplify this, the plus 32 and the minus 32 cancel. 5/9 times 1.8 is 1. So this is x, as we hoped. And then the reverse, g inverse of g of x. This would be g inverse of, g of x is 5/9 times x minus 32. And now I need to use the function notation to look at my g inverse formula, replace this x with this formula, so replace all the x's with this formula. So I have 1.8 times 5/9 times x minus 32 plus 32. All right, so multiplying this 1.8 times this 5/9, that's 1. So I have x minus 32 plus 32, which is x.